Hi there, I'm Jonathan Parker from Parker & Boat Sales, and today we're going to look at this Bayliner 742. This is a fantastic boat, and Bayliner have come a long way in recent years. Now, I've been boating for 25 years, and back in the day, Bayliner was almost looked down upon. It was almost considered the Skoda of boats at that time, but in recent years, Bayliner has really come on, and what I find now that Bayliner are good quality, they're very versatile, loads of little tricks up their sleeve. So we're going to show you all those things right here, right now on this walkthrough tour. So stay tuned and please subscribe to our channel. Well, actually, I was quite excited about this boat because I've not been on a 742 before, actually, the last few days. And it's a really interesting boat. As I went through it, I kept finding more and more interesting things about it that I didn't expect on this Bayliner Cuddy, because I've had a Cuddy in the past and they're quite basic. But this is really interesting boat. So first of all, with Cuddys, they can be a bit cumbersome to get on and off, but Bayliner have put this fantastic bathing platform on the back. This age of boat, it's a 2016/17. I say that because it was built 2016 for a 17 build date, and it feels very modern. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 years old now, but it feels very modern, and the US are quite good at that. And this bathing platform, very easy to get on. There's a bathing ladder, but this is the engine cover, so it's got an inboard V6 petrol engine. A good performance, we'll show you that a bit later, but they've made good use of the back of the boat. And in fact, what I really like, most people put a sun lounger on here, which it is, but they also have a backrest that you can put up and down. It's very cool. So you can actually sit back here and take in the sun. Sports boat, of course, so it does have a tow hook down the bottom here, so you can tow toys with it, and there is a little pedestal that goes in here with a light on it for nighttime use. It does have shore power as well, which you can plug into here, but also this back part does go flat, as you can see, but also it can lift up, so when the cushion isn't here, the whole thing can come back, and it's actually got non-slip deck. So you can open up this whole section. So if you are doing water sports, you can walk back and forth from the bathing platform straight onto the boat, which is quite cool. So you can have it completely cushioned, or if you're doing water sports, you can open it up so you're not trampling all over the cushions. Under here as well, there's a bit of storage. It's almost like a bit like a bin and a bit of dry storage. And then that will then also shut down. This will go flat. The seat back will find itself slotting back on quite easily, and the base goes down. So now you've got this lovely U-shaped seating area with a lovely teak table, which you can open up into a large or a small table. Isn't that neat? The cockpit area also has a galley. So again, on a boat like this size, I wouldn't expect to see a fridge. I wouldn't expect to see a hob, and this is an electric hob but also a paraffin powered hob, so you can put paraffin fuel in here as well, so on anchor you can use it. Also has a sink. It's a cold water sink, but nice to have that for just rinsing bits and pieces off. And I don't know if you've noticed, actually I like these finials. These are quite cool, because if you've got a kettle and you're on an anchorage, you can drop these down and that'll hold your kettle in place. So I like that, that's quite cool. And normally you only see that sort of thing on yachts, but it's quite cool to have it. Let me drop that down. Also, there's a frame here. Obviously we've not put it up today, but it has a bimini. So you can have a bimini over this area as well. So very versatile. The flooring, it's actually non-slip flooring underneath, but they fit these waterproof covers, and these aren't fabric. They're actually, it's almost like they're made to look like what would you call that? What's the stuff you make chairs out of? What do you do that with? It's like a weave, so it's like a plastic weave, so it looks pretty, it's nice underfoot, but also it's very water resistant, so water just runs off of it. In here as well, you may have noticed there's quite a lot of speakers. So I've actually got 2 speakers there. I think these are probably 6.5, 7 inch, and then I've got a couple of 9-inch speakers as well. Some nice size speakerage, if that's the word. Nice storage as well. So Bayliner seem to do storage. So there's a bit of storage here. There's access to the fuel tank, but also there's some extra storage in there. There is a little storage cubby under the helm seat, which you don't really see, it's just a hole. But also this forward-facing seat, because you've got a pad here, turns into, I think you lift this and it unclips and then it goes forward, and then you make it into another flat surface that you can then lean up against. So now I've got another lounger at the back. You've got a lounger there, I mean, it's so versatile, this boat seems to be, and it did surprise me actually how much thought they've got into it, and it's really smart. And there's even somewhere you can put your arm and lean against here, as well as grab handles. It's a very clever system. And the helm as well, it's quite a wide seat, which I quite like, so you can have 2 people perched on there if you'd want to, and it's a bolster, so the bolster simply goes down, and revealing the helm. And I do like the fact that Bayliner and are sort of mass produced. You know, there's loads of these go out in America, as well as a lot of other American brands. But because they're mass produced, they can do really nice tooling. And I do particularly like the fact they've got these moulded dashes, particularly for these gauges, and they're very smart gauges with different analog with different analog readings for temperature and oil pressures and revs, and also. It's got a very neat Garmin Echo map just positioned in the centre, and being a 7.5 metre Cuddy, you're not really going to be going miles and miles offshore, so you only need a small GPS just to be able to navigate the local waters. I also like the switches are very positive. They're very nice clunky switches. I do like that, and of course it's got VHF as well. And the engine controls are just here, just to hand. So it's a very neat arrangement. Good visibility, nice protection. And we actually bought this back from Portsmouth, and it actually cruised at about 32 knots. And we got a maximum of about 37 knots out of the boat. But being a Cuddy, sat down here, you're out of the weather if the weather does close in, and very well protected. The Cuddys are a great option for the Solent over bow riders. Bow riders, if you get caught out in a choppy sea, if you get water into the bow, you can swap the boats quite easily, but the Cuddys, you don't get that. But you do lose the bow seating, but we've solved that because there's a ton of bow cushions up the front here. So if you have a look up here, we can see there's these lovely cushions, and these actually stow in the Cuddy on the sides, so they don't take up. They take up a lot less room than you think. And of course, even this cushion you can have, so you can actually sit up on the bow as well. So really good. And the other surprise that I had actually was up the front, because the anchor is on an electric windlass. And normally as well, you would find on sort of boats this sort of age and this sort of type, you may find it would just be a drop down anchor that you have to pull up and down. But no, it's actually an electric windlass up the front. So again, makes anchoring a bit of a pleasure really. So let me show you into the front. Now as we pop down here, there's a step down. This also is a seating area. So as you can see, there's this V-shaped seating. There's lots of space in here, and this is actually where the cushions were kept, just up on the side. So it didn't actually take up any room on the seating at all. You can actually put the table down here as well. So that would be stored. And the table can, you can also, I think, make this into a full Cuddy. I haven't seen this centre cushion yet, but pretty sure we can make this into a full bed if we want to. But it has another trick up its sleeve as well. And let me show you, because it's actually got a toilet in here. So the way that works is you take out the step. There's a little catch here. And you just put it, and now you've got a proper sea toilet in here. And again, on this sort of boat, this sort of size, you would never normally find this kind of thing, and the adaptability, because the toilet isn't just in the middle of this cuddy here. You can actually hide it away if you want to. So a really good addition. I also like the little Bayliner pouches either side. And there are opening windows. Also, there are lights up in the ceiling, as well as these windows as well, which let light in, but the bow cushions are over them at the moment. So all in all, it's a really smart little boat. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to open up the engine bay and show you in there. Right, so what we've done, I've taken off these cushions just to give us access to the engine bay. I've took the back one off because we don't want that falling in the water, because this lifts all the way up. So let me show you. So as we come up, this goes all the way up into the air. The gas struts hold it and the straps going any further. But what's quite neat is we've got the bimini access. So we also do this if we want to get the bimini up. So it's a bit like a convertible car. It's quite smart. Bimini will come up. And in here is another storage area, again on gas strut. And in here is electric cable, but also the covers that enclose the whole boat. So you can get a really good enclosure of the boat. So it's really good for if you want to do a bit more winter boating, but also of an evening, if you're in a marina, you're going to sleep on the boat, you can enclose it all, and this is your lounge for the evening where you can socialise. And again, it really makes this, you can use this as a more of a weekender as well now. So it's really nice. But we mainly opened it to show you the engine. Now this is the Mercruiser 4.5, so it's a later version of the 4.3, 250 horsepower, and like I said, it pushed this boat to around 37 knots max, but you cruise around the 32 knot range. So it's a really good cruising speed for this sort of boat. They think they did put the smaller engine in this, which I think was still like the 3 litre, but it's a little bit too slow for this sort of size of boat. So this really helps. Really good access to all your engine components, but also you can see we've got 2 batteries, access to the water tank, and then access to the holding tank for the toilet. You can see the fuel tank from here as well, where the fuel sender is and the fill, and good access to the bilges. But what I do like about this engine is that you can actually do all your engine checks. So you can check the oil, it's easy to do. You can top up the oil, which is easy to do. Power steering fluid over here. And this is a seawater cooled engine. So, and what's quite neat is they've added this. So this is on this version. The early versions didn't have it. But what you do, if you undo that, it drains all the seawater out the engine into the bilge. So it's a good way if you wanted to drain the water out of the engine between uses, that you can do that on there. And there's even instructions on how to do it. And I do like the Mercruisers, so give you instructions on here. So check each day's start, check engine oils, tells you what to do. Check each day ends, check weekly, drain instructions, specification, even tells you what spark plugs it takes, and even if you have to put the belt, the routing of the belt. So really clever that they give you that information. So all in all, it's a really nice engine package. And Mercruiser is another brand of engine that have come leaps and bounds over the last 20 odd years as well. And again, 25 years ago, people go, oh, you know, Mercruisers, you know, they're not built very well. But it's the opposite now. You know, it's almost, we prefer the Mercruiser engines over other makes because they are so well put together now. And that's inboard and outboards especially. But I love this access. Obviously there's a fire extinguisher in there as well for safety. So let me pop this back down. And I'm just going to show you a last bit around the front of the boat before we sign off. Right, so the last thing, we did talk about it earlier, was the anchor on the front. Under here, it's a nice drum type anchor, and it is all chain. And there's a little strap on here to stop it coming out if you need to. It looks like sort of 6mm chain, it's quite small. But we have obviously the anchor up and down options, so you can push them with the finger, flip them over, you can push them with your feet. That's the idea of that. And it's just a nice little easy setup. There's this to release, there's an emergency release if you need to, but a nice little setup and a nice little cover goes over the top. You've got your nav lights, of course, but I really like this lounger. So you can obviously get 3 or 4 people on here, just sunbathing. As you can see, I'm 6 foot, so I'm a little bit longer than the lounger, but don't mind feet being down that way. But it doesn't matter, because there's an addition to this, because I am a bit long. If I close that, this actually comes over and it zips to the top here. And what I like about all these covers is, we haven't done it, but these bits slide into here, so it makes them very secure when you're travelling, and then each one pops onto the other one, so you can actually leave these on when you're motoring, not have to worry at all about them coming off. But this is just made just to go onto here, so now me being 6 foot doesn't matter anymore, does it? Because I've got loads of room. I could be 7 foot tall now, and being that the sun is out, I think I might stay here for a little bit longer enjoying the sun. But I'll let you go if you want to watch me sunbathing. So don't forget to come and see us at parker-adams.co.uk. Subscribe to our channel, and I'm losing my train of thought now just because I'm actually enjoying looking down the river. If you're interested in this boat, get in touch, but I think this is a fantastic boat, especially for around the Solent here. Very versatile, and I'm very impressed now with this Bayliner. So I'll say goodbye, and see you on the next video. I might stay here a while actually.